The purpose of this video is to remind you of the parts of a good body paragraph, as well as to show you some examples of students who are writing really excellent body paragraphs. Here are some notes that we'll take at the beginning of this mini lesson, so make sure you've got your notebook out. Feel free to pause the video in order to do that. Okay, so we want to go from specific to deep to specific in our body paragraphs. What that looks like is we'll start off with our topic sentence, which should include the literary element and the theme. So very specific about what you're going to be talking about. Then the context, the background information, the evidence, your quote, your commentary, what you have to say about it. Remember that your commentary should be deep and meaningful. And then we're going to come back to specific with your concluding sentence. Your concluding sentence is going to wrap up everything that you talked about in that body paragraph, talking about the literary element and the themes that we've gathered by looking at that specific literary element. So we're going from specific to deep to back to specific. In addition, good body paragraphs will have 10 to 15 sentences. Make sure that your body paragraphs are not too long. This means that you will need to cut out context that maybe is too long. Maybe make context and evidence one sentence. You could also cut out commentary that gets repetitive. Make sure you also cite your quotes like this. So we've got the quote, the period comes at the end of the sentence, the page number before the period. You should double check to make sure that all your page numbers are in and that your quotes look like this. Here we go. This is just an excerpt, just the first part of a body paragraph. Jackson's stories have a dark and reflective feel. We can see that in her amazingly worded foreshadowing. We've got a very specific topic sentence right here. In the beginning of the story, when the narrator is seeing Laurie, her son, off to his first day of school, she notices something about the way Laurie is dressed. He looked as though he were going off to a fight. This is an example of the literary element foreshadowing because the narrator is telling us that his son looks like a bad kid. This hints to us as the reader that Laurie may be a kid that causes trouble, which in the end does turn out that way. So they're explaining why this is foreshadowing in a very clear and concise way. This impacts the reader's understanding in the story because it builds up to the end. It makes our imagination run and wonder, which is what makes a story interesting. We're going to stop there for this body paragraph, but I love the way that this person is answering or is attempting to answer the essential question, what makes a great story? They're giving their reaction to the story, to the foreshadowing, and why it does happen. So they've given a definition explaining why it is foreshadowing, then they're explaining their reaction to it. The only thing that this person is missing here is tying back to the theme at the end of their commentary. Next one. With point of view, the reader can understand that Jackson believes the world is evil through different perspectives. For example, nice transition word usage. For example, at the end of Charles, we find out the true identity of Charles, which is Laurie. Laurie is a kindergartner who had been lying to his parents by creating a non-existent person to blame all his troubles on. Towards the end of the story, we feel the desperation of the mother. At the meeting, I looked over the faces of all the other mothers. Since we are in the mother's point of view, we see Laurie as an evil person for making a big lie, especially to his parents, and this lie shattered the trust that his mother had for Laurie. In addition, again, nice transition word. In addition, the use of point of view in the lottery, a small village sacrifices a person each year by using blank slips of paper and one has a black dot on it. It narrows down from one family to one person, and Tessie is chosen as the, quote, winner. And the person who wins gets killed by stones thrown at them from other villagers. Her pleading is worthless. She becomes voiceless. She held her hands out desperately as the villagers moved in on her. From this third point of view, limited, we can infer that the world is unfair because of the ritual of the lottery is pure evil. Friends and family turn their backs on you for a few good crops and forget you once were a human being like them, shattering trust. Nice use of third point of view limited. We see that this specific point of view is showing us that there is no trust between the human beings and that they don't really care about one another's feelings. Not only in those two short stories is point of view playing a big role, but in the possibility of evil, the protagonist of the story, Miss Strangeworth, has an admirable side to the town. But her unsigned letters say otherwise because they're filled with evil thoughts. Nice context. She never signed her name on the cards because even she knew they were evil. If she had been asked, she would have said that her name, Adela Strangeworth, a name honored in the town for so many years, did not belong on such trash. Beautiful evidence. After analyzing the point of view here, we can see that Miss Strangeworth has an evil side. She seems very trusting and caring, but her evil letters shatter the trust between her and the town. It's important to know that the perspective of the stories can help you make important conclusions about the story and its theme. This is not a perfect body paragraph. For instance, they could tie back to their theme in a more original way here. And we've got a repetition of shatter the trust throughout. But overall, they're using transition words really well. Their analysis is clear and it's concise. So we've got the two examples of the body paragraphs. Remember that we want to have 10 to 15 sentences in a good body paragraph. Just because it's long doesn't mean that it's good. We want to go from specific to deep, back to specific, kind of make a whole circle. We want to come full circle from the topic sentence, context, evidence, commentary, all the way back to the concluding sentence. You want to make sure that you're citing your quotes like this.